Silver and Blue Huddle is back. We got the game back together. We talking NFL draft. The Cowboys had an excellent draft. I'm excited. They did the right thing. I mean, they didn't go off the hinges and pick the players that Rich Black Man wanted, but that's quite okay because overall they actually had a great pick. So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about all the draft picks and more. So let's hop right into it, man. Fellas, first off, welcome back. How y'all feeling today before we hop into the draft?
Hey, man, it's good to be back. Good to be back.
Yeah, we've been on hiatus.
I feel like it's been a while. And I think it's not because that there wasn't enough Cowboy action out there. I feel like all three of us were waiting for the draft, and we were waiting to see what the Cowboy Nation was gonna get. So I think now was the perfect time to come back, especially right after the draft.
Yeah, I'm excited. So let's hop right into it, man. First round pick, Tyler Booker out of Alabama, offensive guard. Let's hear it. What you got?
I'll let expert go first. Yeah,
I said on Silver and Blue before we took the break before the end of the season, the Cowboys, this was the most important offseason the Cowboys have had in the last 10 years. And when we get to the draft, you know, we all wanted a certain player at 12. Obviously, I thought the wide receiver from Arizona, T-Mac, I thought he would have been a good fit for the Cowboys. A good addition to CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, Tolbert, you know, the guys that we got already. But once he was gone, then I think the Cowboys kind of had that list of 3 to 5 guys that they look at and say, okay, we have positions of need we need to take care of. What's the biggest one? And obviously the elephant in the room is the future Hall of Famer right guard, Zach Martin, has hung it up. He's retired. We can't thank Zach Martin enough for what he did for the Cowboys coming out of Notre Dame. I remember when they drafted him, a lot of people were like, why? Turned out to be one of the greatest draft picks of all time for the Cowboys. This is their replacement for Zach Martin, right? It's not the sexy pick. It's not the pick where everybody's like, ooh, this guy's going to be a game changer. If you don't protect the quarterback, he can't throw it to those guys playing wide receiver. So you got to beef up that offensive line. And I love this pick. This is a guy that if you listen to him talk, if you listen to anybody talk about him, this is a guy that loves football. He loves playing football. He doesn't want to do anything else but play football. And he is super excited to be a Dallas Cowboy. So I'm looking forward to Tyler Booker kind of solidifying that right side of the line at right guard with Terrence Steele. You got Cooper Beebe in the center, and then you got the 2 Tylers on the left side. It's going to be a fun year if this group finds a way to gel and then stays healthy throughout the season. Was impressed with the pick because there are a lot of people that were like, no, you shouldn't have got guard there. You reached at 12, but you got the best guard in the draft, the best interior lineman in the draft. You got him at 12. And it was a position of dire need with Zach Martin leaving.
Facts.
Yo, and I gotta piggyback on that because everything you said was 100% right. And it was funny that you mentioned the 2 Tylers because that was the first thing I said when they drafted. I said, oh, he buy the 2 Tylers. I said, let's go. And, you know, when you saw that interview, like you said, he was poised. He took the interview well. He looked like a people person. He looked like he's going to be really, really comfortable with the media if he has to get interviewed in the locker room. And, man, that clip that went out there when he was getting interviewed, he was talking about how he wants the person in front of him to basically quit football after he's done playing them. And that got Micah Parsons fired up. That's the type of guy we need down in Dallas. And, you know, I think it's a great pick. Of course, the draft board went the way it did. It went the way it did.
Yeah.
Listen, did we all want Ashton Genty? Of course, he's from Texas. It would have been awesome, right? But it didn't fall that way. Did we want McMillan? Yes, we wanted that. Now, I will say there was a little doubt in me that right before they selected, I was thinking, do they go with the North Carolina running back? I was a little nervous at first because I was like, do they avoid the guard? Do they not go Booker? But then once I knew Booker was available, I knew he was going to get it. So I would say A+ first round pick.
Right. And just like Esper said, we needed to replace Zach Martin. So that's why I was really okay with the pick. I really thought they was going to go wide receiver and pick up Golden at that point to pair with CeeDee Lamb because we really do need a number 2. But overall, I slept on it, and I'm not too I'm not disappointed with the pick at all. I'm actually excited about the pick because he steps right into Zach Martin's spot, and hopefully he'll be able to produce and step up right away. And I did listen to the clip where he was talking and Michael Parsons got all hyped and stuff like that. And in the back of my mind, I said, man, it sounds like you're going to have a whole lot of holding calls, bro. Like, I hope that's not true. But the way that you talking, you all excited. Normally that equals to a lot of holding calls from the offensive lineman. But I hope he does well. I like the pick. So we're going to see what he does, man. But
if you look at his stats from Alabama, though, he didn't have a lot of penalties. He doesn't give up sacks. He's a team first guy. And so here's the thing. Let's say they pick Hampton at 12, the running back from North Carolina. Then there's people who are like, you got a big hole in your offensive line. You should have gone offensive line.
Right.
You pick Golden. They're like, who's going to protect Dak Prescott? You got no running back. It doesn't matter who they would have picked at 12. They would have been the people that would have been like, oh, it's the wrong pick.
Yeah.
If you look at the guards in this draft, Booker was head and shoulders the best guard in this draft, and the Cowboys got him at 12. And when you start listening to other people talk about him, everybody raves about this kid. So, again, it's going to matter when he gets in between the lines. He's got a veteran on his right with Terrence Steele. He's got Cooper Beebe, who was just a rookie last year, kind of help him out at center. He's got Tyler Smith, who's turning into an all-pro left guard. And then you got Tyler on the outside, who was a rookie the first year. Tyler Guyton is now going into his second year. So this is a young offensive line outside of Terrence Steele who can really build for these next 5, 6, 7 years and gel together. It's going to be fun to watch. But I'm with so amazing. A+ for the first pick of the draft. Hit a home run on the first one. And I was telling everybody they had to hit 3 home runs back to back to back in this draft for it to be successful for me. What they did in round 4 through 7 was just go and get value where you can get value. But picks 1, 2, and 3 had to be home runs. No doubters out the park. And we'll see when we get to the next 2 how we felt about those.
And pick number 2 is actually Donovan out of Boston College on the edge, which I think was another great pick. I understood it. These first 2 picks wasn't the sexiest picks, but they was a great fit for the team, and is what the Dallas Cowboys needed to select. So I'm not even mad at it. I'm not mad at it. But talking about Donovan from Boston College, I'm assuming he's going to be on the other side of the edge, opposite Michael Parsons. But what y'all think about him? Let's start with X.
Listen, I'll go first on this one, X. Listen, you know me, I'm a defensive guy. Listen, when I first heard the name, I was like, huh? Like, because mind you, I was driving home from Florida, so I was listening, and I was like, wait, what did I just hear? And once I heard who it was, my brother's holding the phone next to me, and I said, no, they didn't. Because I knew who it was. I was like, wait a minute. They snuck in and got his ass? Like, man, this pass rusher, and I know everybody's like, Boston College, what are you talking about? If you watch the film, his hands, the way he comes off a block, he's very finesse. He's a pass rush specialist. And if you can get him on opposite side of Micah Parsons, he's going to get to the quarterback. So this pick was an A+, A- with me, because I can't say A+ because Booker got the A+. This is like an A- because you can't get any better than somebody to pair up with Parsons. Parsons has been getting double teamed. He's been getting chipped. He's been getting quarterbacks are releasing the ball quick because of this guy. And now you got another guy that's going to compete on the other side, that's young, that's fresh, and wants to eat the quarterback. I'm cool with this pick.
Yeah, there's so much. First off, I have to disagree with Rich Blackman. This is a sexy pick. Pass rushers are sexy picks to me, okay? Because here's the thing. Let's think about this. People say you can never have enough guys that can rush the passer, right? So now you got Micah Parsons, Donovan. You bring Donovan in, and Donovan led Boston College with 16 and a half sacks last year. Pass rush translates from league to league. If you know how to get to the quarterback in junior high, high school, college, you can do it in the NFL. These guys know how to get after the quarterback. You got Nealand. You now have Sam Williams coming back. You bring Dante Fowler back. You got Odigizua in the middle. This is going to be, listen, I hate to do this, but let's look at the blueprint that just won the Super Bowl.
Right.
Number 1 offensive line, number one defensive line. They protect their quarterback. They get after the quarterback. What did the Cowboys do in this draft? They said, we got to protect Dak Prescott and we got to go get whoever is playing quarterback for the other team. I love this blueprint because this is Schottenheimer putting his thumbprint on the Dallas Cowboys and says, we are not physical enough. We're not physical in the run game. We're not physical in getting after the quarterback. And we got to fix those two things. And it starts with your defensive line and your offensive line. And they took that to heart. And those were the first two picks. When you put the film on of this kid, not only is he great in the pass rush, but he plays the run very, very well. He led Boston College in tackles for losses. He had like 45 tackle for losses in his career at Boston College. This is a guy that plays football and knows how to get to the football. This is a great pick. Not only is this a great pick in the second round, this would have been a great pick for a team in the first round because he had first round draft grades. And the Cowboys got another first round draft grade in the second round with pick 44. Again, home run number 2. The Cowboys go back to back on day 1 and day 2. Cannot be upset about this. This kid is an immediate impact defensive lineman. And listen, he doesn't have to play 60 snaps a game. They have a rotation now with that defensive line. Again, if they are healthy, now Sam Williams coming off the ACL, but if Sam Williams comes back like he was before he got hurt, they have 3 premier pass rushers. And then you got the guy you drafted last year who showed signs last year when DeMarcus Lawrence was hurt that he could be that guy. That's why they felt DeMarcus Lawrence could go away. They didn't rush to try and sign him and try to sign him to a friendly deal, which he didn't want. He wanted to get paid, and I get that. But they felt with Marshawn and all those guys on that line, they got a good group that can just rotate and get after the quarterback. Plus, listen, this frees up Micah Parsons because now you can put Donovan and Sam Williams on the end and Micah Parsons rushing up the middle. You can put him back at linebacker and rush with a blitz. Now you have 3 premier pass rushers going after the quarterback. This just frees up so much for this defense. I love this. I love this pick more than I love the Tyler Booker pick. This pick right here was the top pick for me for the Dallas Cowboys because if you find a way to get after quarterbacks in the NFL, you put teams away now in the NFL because that's how you beat teams. You go after their quarterback and you make him uncomfortable and it changes the game and gets the ball back in your offense's hands. Love this pick.
And just to piggyback real quick, like you said, defensive strategy expert, like this guy doesn't have to play every snap. Like he doesn't have to be down there in first down. You can have the other D-line rotate in and then it's 3rd and 12, it's 3rd and 9, it's 3rd and 15. Guess who's coming in?
Yeah.
And you got to get the ball out. There's no way you're not getting this ball out.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. You're going to get the haters out there. Look, I'm looking right at the camera. Oh, well, it's the NFL. He came from Boston College. There's some elite left tackles and elite right tackles out there that are going to block him, and they're going to stop him at the point of attack. Like Expert just said, it's football. It doesn't matter. If my arms is this long, my arms are that long. If you can't put your hands on my chest, I'm getting around you.
Right. And let's
just think about one of the greatest defense ends to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Name was DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah.
Do you know where he went to college?
Yeah.
Troy. little old Troy. He didn't go to Boston College. Boston College is a Power 5 school. So if DeMarcus Ware can do it, there's no reason Donovan cannot. I love this pick.
And I did see some highlights of Donovan playing at Boston College, and he kind of maybe reminds me of the edge rusher that played for the Eagles, either like Hassan Reddick and maybe even the dude Sweat. Like he's small and undersized, but he was able to continue to get to the quarterback every single time whenever he got into the game. So I'm excited about this pick. Again, the first 2 picks was great. It was great for the team. I mean, they wouldn't have been rich black man picks, but they're great picks for the team. I like it. I would have went in a totally different direction, would have been total disaster. But I like the way the Cowboys been thinking with the first 2 picks, man. Moving on to the 3rd pick, went defensive back East Carolina, Siobhan Rivell Jr. I heard he's a bad man. I'm looking at the stats. I'm looking at his analysis of what they're talking about, and he seems pretty good. So let's talk about him.
Go for it.
So obviously, Rivell fell in the draft. He's coming off an ACL injury back in September, early in the college football year. So there were a lot of teams that kind of stayed away from that, kind of like Will Johnson at Michigan coming off of that injury. They didn't know if he's going to be healthy. I was fine either one of these guys, Will Johnson here or Revel Jr. You're talking about 6'3", 195-pound corner. Now, again, we talked about Tyler Booker taking a spot where Zach Martin left. This is another spot of need. First off, you lose Jordan Lewis in the offseason, your top slot corner, one of the top slot corners in the entire NFL goes away. So you now have a need at cornerback. You have Trayvon Diggs coming off of an injury. Don't know if he's going to be 100% ready to go by the start of the season. They're hoping he's going to be ready by week 1. Same thing with Revel. They think he'll be ready by week 1 as well. So you have position of need again. And listen, if you get after the quarterback and you have guys on the back end that can cover, you are a dangerous defense. This is old school football. Make quarterbacks uncomfortable, make the ball come out quick. You got DeRon Bland, the king interception. Trayvon Diggs, if he's healthy. Now you got Revel Jr. here in the slot. This is another great pick. Now, this was a guy, if he's healthy, if he does not have the ACL injury in September, he has a round 1 draft grade. So now the Cowboys have drafted 3 guys, all with round 1 draft grades in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round. I talked about it. If you can go back and watch the film. I don't know which one it was, but on previous Silver and Blue Huddle podcast, I said they had to hit 3 home runs right out the gate. 1, 2, and 3. This had to be the great. You could not make a mistake in this draft, and that's what they did. They got the left guard to take over, the right guard to take over for Zach Martin. They got a premier pass rusher with DeMarcus Lawrence leaving, and they went and filled Jordan Lewis's spot with Revel Jr. Couldn't be more excited about what they did in the first 3 rounds. This was a great draft. Schottenheimer is starting off the regime, and he got a lot of heat becoming the Dallas Cowboy quarterback, even from us. Right. Even we were like, do you really want to promote a guy from within? We gave him the same heat. This is his first step as the head coach. To be successful, you have to have the right personnel around you, and he wants to put his own blueprint. He does not want this to be the Mike McCarthy Dallas Cowboys. He doesn't want this to be, the Jason Garrett Dallas Cowboys. This has to be the Schottenheimer Cowboys, and he's starting to build that, and he's building relationships with the guys already in the locker room, and he's bringing guys in this draft process that are going to fit his mold of what he wants from his football team. This is another great pick. I was very surprised and pleased with how the Cowboys did.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of haters were out there I see all them in the chat. They were like, "Oh, you Cowboys picked somebody that's coming off of an injury," and it's like, listen, Cowboys have done this before in the past. They've picked up somebody that was prior injured. We had really good doctors. You got to realize the Dallas Cowboys organization got some really good connections to doctors, so I don't think they're gonna pick somebody that they can't help out, if you know what I mean. Like, additionally, because again, we're not on the inside, so then maybe even if there is some extra therapy that the guy needs, I guarantee the Dallas Cowboys got it. So I'm cool with this pick.
Yep, I agree with you guys, man. I'm excited about the pick. Now, the Cowboys didn't have a 4th round pick, but we did pick up a running back. Why?
Yes, we did. We got Mingo. Mingo's our 4th round. Mingo.
Now listen. This is the Mingo. This is going to be the Mingo season right here, where he's going to make everybody hate the fact that they hated on this man. He did not get to play with Dak Prescott.
No, he did not.
He did not get to learn the offense with Mike McCarthy. They hardly ever used him properly. So now he's going to get a full off season with Dak Prescott, a full off season with this offense. This guy was drafted in the 1st round. He's going to have to prove something. I'm putting my money on this kid. He's going to show out. I promise you he's going to show out.
Now, my question is, again, I know this is more of a freestyle, like, because, we're freestyling this conversation because of course, we're only talking about draft picks. But because Mingo got him because of a 4th round pick, now, where do you put him? Because he is tall, he's kind of physical. Do you put him on the outside?
Absolutely. This is a guy that can play the outside. Here's the thing. You have 2 great wide receivers, 2 tall wide receivers that can play both. You can go in the slot. You can put them on the outside. Put both him and CD on the outside. You got Turpin on the inside. You got Tolbert on the inside. It just depends. Plus, the Cowboys are still talking about picking up, but we'll get on to the draft picks. But I'm telling y'all, Mingo.
I know. Yeah.
Mingo is about to show out.
Yeah,
I
but
hope
I
so.
don't want to get into free agency yet because that's a whole different conversation. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope Expert is right about that. So let's double up these next couple picks. So in the 5th round, we got Jaden Blue, and we end up getting Shamar James. We got a running back, and we got a linebacker from Florida, which I think was two exciting picks. I read a lot about Jaden Blue. I saw some highlights, and I'm excited. I mean, he's only 5'9" or whatever, but I heard he is one of the fastest running backs in the combine. So
The fastest.
So we may have like Tony Pollard 2.0, but a little bit more younger.
I don't know if Jaden Blue is Tony Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Pollard didn't get enough credit for his strength that he had in between the tackles and breaking tackles.
Okay.
But this is a good running back here. So for me, Jaden Blue, obviously I live in Texas. I live right here where the University of Texas plays. I've seen a lot of Jaden Blue. This is a guy
that
is Blue from Texas, or he played for Texas University? That's all I know.
I don't know if he is from Texas, but he went to the University of Texas. I don't think he's from Austin, but he is from Texas.
Okay.
But he played behind Bijan Robinson, was the backup for Bijan Robinson.
Yes, he did.
And then a couple guys get hurt in the offseason for the Longhorns, and he gets thrust into that starting role later in the year. He didn't start as the starter, but he ends up with 700 plus carries. He catches the ball out of the backfield really, really well. I think one of his big problems is securing the football. He had some turnover problems at Texas, but this is a kid that if he gets a crease, he is gone. He has that type of speed. Now, here's the great thing. He doesn't have to step in day one and be the premier back because the Cowboys went into offseason and got Williams from the Broncos. They bring in Miles Sanders. They got 2 veterans in this locker room ready to go for the 2 running backs they picked up in the draft. And so Blue is going to be able to learn and be able to step into that role, play some special teams, be a third down guy, try and help this offense out, and who knows what he can do. Again, the first 4 rounds, you're picking guys that you feel, probably the first 3 rounds, you're picking guys you feel can step in day one and be starters for your team and be impacts, right? You start to get into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. These are guys that you're taking flyers on, right? You're hoping that, hey, I'm going to hit a home run, a diamond in the rough here, pick a guy up that's going to be an impact player for us. Maybe not next year, maybe 2 years down the road when he gets into the system. This is a guy, Jaden Blue, who he may not be that guy this year, but he can grow into that guy as he learns how to play in the NFL. As far as the linebacker from Florida, and we were talking in the pre-show, this is Dexter Coakley with more speed. So if you're a Cowboy faithful, you know who Dexter Coakley is. Dexter Coakley was the guy that ran downhill and smacked you in the mouth at full speed. That's what Jamar is going to do. And he's Demarion Overshown without the height. He is going to run sideline to sideline. He's got that type of speed. He has no problem sticking his nose in there. He's an undersized linebacker, but he has no problem getting between tackles and making plays. I liked both these picks. Those are 2 good value picks here in the 5th round. 2 guys that could have gone 3rd, 4th, or 5th. 2 value picks. They're going to play some special teams for the Cowboys. Again, these are flyer picks. If they work out, man, you're a hero. If they don't work out, you wasted a 5th round pick on him. So good picks for the Cowboys.
I think you said it both. And, just to piggyback on it is, look, Jaden Blue, he has burst. I mean, he's running a 4.3 in the combine. His 10-yard split was like 1.3, 1.4, which is, I run track. That's very fast. That's quick. So I saw him play in college. I mean, he gets the sideline and you underestimate his speed, he's gone, So the way I see Jaden Blue being used is, I'll give you an example, both of y'all. Think about it right now. We got Booker, we got BB, we got a good line, right? I can see it right now. Cowboys just got a first down. The defense is tired. What we gonna do? Run a little counter, run a little trap. Guess what's going to happen? That trap, that counter going to come. Linebacker going to get lazy. We get to that seal block. This boy's gone.
Right.
And you'll know what I'm talking about when it comes to football strategy. So I see this guy, screens, big plays downfield, miss a tackle, gone. You can't catch him. So that's what I see with Blue, right? Turpin's going to wind up going to the slot. We had that conversation.
Yeah.
James, like you said, I didn't know too much about him. Expert had to tell me in the pre-show. But listen, anybody that's going to do run support in the NFC East, I like.
Yeah.
Come downhill, boy, and make a block, make a TFL. I'm good with that.
Yeah. And I'm liking those two picks, man, Blue and James, and I just can't wait. I'm like, so far the draft has just been great for the Cowboys. I mean, they made the right choices. So these last two rounds, we went offensive tackle, defensive tackle, running back, and another defensive tackle. Someone from Oregon, Cornelius, and we got Jay from UCLA. Phil, which we was talking about in the pre-show as well, from Clemson, another running back, and then we also picked defensive tackle, someone named Tommy. I don't even know I say his last name, but he's from Maryland. So out of those last four picks, how do y'all feel about those?
Yeah, I was gonna say expert. I'll let you go first. Who do you like out of those four? Like, who's your guy?
The offensive lineman is just a depth guy. He's going to take some work, coming from Oregon, but he's like 6'5", 315 pounds. This is a big boy. I talked about they're trying to get physical on this offensive line. He's not going to be a year one starter. He's going to be that guy that there's going to take some work, but he's going to be a solid backup for the Cowboys. Hopefully,
is he more
he can
of a
learn
tackle?
this. Yeah, he's a guard.
Okay.
He's going to play guard.
Oh, he's a guard. I thought he was a
slide
tackle.
out and play tackle. Maybe this is Terrence Steele's replacement here in a couple years. We'll see.
Okay.
The big one that I'm happy about, and I love Phil. So if Jadon Blue is lightning, then Thunder is Muffle. That's 6'1", 230-pound running back, ran for over 1,000 yards last year at Clemson. In the ACC, this is a guy that's going to hit the hole and try and run you over. I like that pick. But the pick I love is the defensive tackle from UCLA. We wasted, yes, I will say it, we wasted a first-round pick on Mozzie Smith. Mozzie has not performed at the level we expected. When we got Mozzie, we're like big, strong defensive lineman that's going to push the pile, and he has not proven to be that guy. This is that guy from UCLA. Only 3 sacks last year at defensive tackle, but he had 19 QB pressures. He gets after the quarterback as well. Plus, he is a big 300-plus pound monster in the middle, and that's what the Cowboys need. That's the pick I was most excited. Yes, sir.
He's breaking the pocket.
He is the guy that's going to disrupt things in the middle. He's going to be the Mozzie Smith we expected, but we're going to get him in the 6th round, which is crazy. Love this pick. That's the one I'm most excited for.
He looks like Villa Vea, maybe.
He's a Vita Vea type. I won't put him on that level of Vita Vea.
Yeah, we got to see him in action.
Vita Vea's kind of up here, but if he can get to just about here where Vita Vea was, well, I'll be excited.
So maybe you're saying he's like a first down, second down guy.
This is a guy when it's possibility of a run, he's going to be in the game. Obviously, he may not be in the game on those 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7.
He's going to be a first down
beyond. Yeah, he's going to be that guy that's going to try and disrupt this run game. And when so amazing touched on it. You probably missed it. Go back and listen. He said in the NFC East, what do they like to do? They want to run the football. The Giants don't have a quarterback. They want to run the football. The Philadelphia Eagles got the best running back in the NFL, and Saquon Barkley. They want to run the football. This is what teams in NFC East are going to do. You have to learn to stop the run. And then when you get in the playoffs, what beat us in the playoffs? The run game. So if you stop the run, you instantly become a better football team. I love this. This is the pick I loved going in here in these late rounds.
I will say my favorite one is, and I do like all of them. I'm not going to be biased. I love them all. The Maryland one, I don't know too much about him. That's why I'm not going to elaborate on him. I got to do a little more research on a seventh round pick. But that Phil Maffa, at first I was a little upset because I wanted to get my Rutgers boy. I'm a Jersey. Kyle Monangai, shout out to him. He went to the Bears. That's just, I got to throw that out there. But when I looked at Maffa, yeah, man, I like a little thunder. I like somebody that can, get the rough yards, get the tough yards. And I feel like the Cowboys need that, man, because I go back to the Marion Barber days and, even DeMarco Murray, like he ran hard, right? And I feel like you still need that in the NFL, even though Saquon Barkley, he's more of like the finesse guy. He's jumping over people backwards, and it was really cool on film. But I feel for the Cowboys, we need to go back to what we're good at. We need to go back as an organization. We are good when we can run the ball. We have a strong O-line, and we can play action it off of it. We're not a fancy organization. When you think about it historically, yes, you think about Troy Aikman, and you guys had like Irvin and all this stuff, and they're throwing the ball. The only reason why the ball was being able to throw like that because we had the O-line and the running back to do it. You know what I'm saying? So historically, you could even go back to like, the 60s and 70s. Like the Cowboys are a run-based play-action offense with tough defense. That's what we are. Historically, we're not Patrick Mahomes. We're not the Buffalo Bills with some guy that's going to throw the ball 45, 50 times. That's not us. So I love the Phil Maffa pick. He's run downhill, short yardage, goal line. Let's go.
Yeah,
Love all the
I
picks.
like him. I just was like looking up the stats to see if he played against my Miami Hurricanes this past season, but he didn't. So either way, I like it. I mean, I'm all right with that, especially with him being paired up with Blue, like you guys just said, Thunder and Lightning. I mean, I'm reading the different things that they're talking about. One is a big back, one is a speedy back. So I like the combination. So that's a draft. Like I said, they did pretty well. So real quick, if we had to give the Cowboys a draft grade, what would it be? I would probably go with A minus. I love it. I love the
Going
draft.
A minus. I'm sorry, I can't. No hesitation. A minus, man. I feel like we acknowledged everything.
A
Yeah,
minus.
you got to put them in the A category. And if you listen to everybody else that grades drafts, they put the Cowboys up there too, because it's easy to get into that mindset of the fans want, they want a wide receiver, they want, a nice running back in the first, second round, but they did exactly what they had to do and they filled positions of need. So I'm going to be the same thing. I'm going to say they got an A minus. Now this could turn into an A plus draft once we get 8, 9, 10 games into the season and we start looking at some of these draft picks. This could also be a D minus grade when we start looking at some of those. That's the great thing about the draft is there's no perfect system, right? I remember when Johnny Manziel was coming out, and Mel Kiper and all these guys were just raving about Johnny Manziel. He was the next great thing. He was Peyton Manning with speed and all this nonsense. Didn't pan out. Tom Brady gets picked in the 6th round and becomes the greatest quarterback to ever touch a football field. So you never know, right? It's going to come down to what happens when the season counts. When it starts week 1, what do the Cowboys draft picks do? I'll be looking forward to these guys, but definitely on paper right now, A minus.
Yep. Yeah. And I totally agree with you as well, man. And, speaking of the draft, I mean, there was a lot of draft news and there was one particular draft pick that pretty much overshadowed the draft and took everybody else's spotlight. So let's get into that for a moment. I know he don't play for the Dallas Cowboys, but he was one of the biggest names throughout the draft. Like you probably don't even, I know we remember, but if you don't follow football, you probably don't even know who the number 1 pick was and who was the first quarterback to come off the board because of Shedeur Sanders. He was the biggest name over the draft. Everybody was talking about him. Obviously, he fell to the 5th round, which was totally unexpected. I'm going to let you guys go first because I don't want to hit on y'all talking points. I want to hear what y'all opinion is. But the fall of Shedeur Sanders, what do you guys think about that?
All right. Let me go first real quick, expert, because I know you're gonna get detailed, but let me talk as a football fan with this situation. I'm going to take the name Shedeur Sanders out of this equation. I'm going to take the whole he's his dad's, it's his dad's Dion. When you watch him as a football player, is he good at football? Yes. Okay. Did he grind from Jackson State, and, he played and then they went to Colorado and then this and that. And he's really good with the media. He has his own he does his own content. Okay. Is he humble? Yeah. Is he good when they ask him questions? He's not putting himself in a bad position. Yeah. Did he make some good highlights during the season? Yeah, he did. He had some good moments, where he made a play and he showed his toughness. He was gritty. But I'm going to be honest. He got drafted where he should have got drafted. I know I see you shaking your head already. Listen, expert, I don't know, man. He's good.
Not even close.
He's good, but he's not. I don't think he was 1st or 2nd round draft pick. And I'm gonna be honest. I think he's in the league, and I think he's gonna ball out. I think he's gonna try to do his best. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna do his best, right? He's in the league now. He has to prove his point. He's already here. But I think he got drafted where he needed to get drafted at. I don't think he was a 1 or 2 round draft pick. That's my opinion. And I love Dion. I love the family. I love what they're trying to do. I love the morals. Hey, let's be grown men. Let's get these men ready for life, outside of football. I agree with all that. I really do, because I get it. You're one injury away from leaving. Shedeur could fucking tore his ACL tomorrow, and he's effed. You know what I mean? So I get that, the realisticness, and I get what Dion's doing. But just to end it, because I want to hear what you guys got to say, he got drafted where he needed to get drafted at. He was not a first round draft pick.
A lot of guys said about Shedeur Sanders during these 3-4 days of he didn't interview well, he's too cocky. I think a lot of that is confidence gets construed as cockiness sometimes. Mm-hmm. And the kid is right. He goes to Jackson State. First off, he doesn't get offers from Power 5 schools. Coming out of Texas, won 4 state championships as the quarterback in Texas, which, if you know anything about Texas, California, Florida, football, winning a state championship there is difficult. To win 4 in a row, next to impossible. And the kid was stellar in Texas high school football. Goes to Jackson State, turns Jackson State into a powerhouse for HBCUs. Great job. Goes to Colorado, a team that's 1-11, can't win to save their life. And he makes them relevant at the quarterback position. Now, is he Peyton Manning where he's going to throw, with zip on the ball? No. But you know what? Neither was Tom Brady. Tom Brady understood where defenders were, where his receiver was going to be, and he put the ball in the spot and that only his guys could go to. Shedeur Sanders, to me, I love Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is great. To me, I think Shedeur Sanders was the best quarterback in the draft. He should have gone number 1 overall to the Titans, and the Titans are going to look back at this, and they're going to say, we made a mistake by drafting Cam Ward when we had a chance to get Shedeur Sanders. He's better than Dylan Gabriel. He's better than the kid that New Orleans drafted that's going to be 46 years old when they start the season. He's way better than that. There is no reason Shedeur Sanders should have been picked in the 5th round. It is a travesty, and I hope Shedeur, somehow someone finds a way to get this clip to him. I hope Shedeur Sanders wakes up every day with the list of quarterbacks that got picked before him on whatever mirror he looks at in the morning and uses this as motivation, because they told Shedeur Sanders everything that you did from the time you started playing quarterback with Truth Academy for your dad, Deion Sanders, to the time you got to Colorado wasn't good enough, when it's been good enough for every other quarterback that's ever done those things and done less than those things, because there's a lot of quarterbacks that got picked before him that did way less than what Shedeur has done. The kid's got talent coming out of his ears. Yes. Is he cocky? Absolutely. If you don't listen, have somebody ask you about the real Tom Brady. You don't think Tom Brady was cocky?
Tom Brady cocky.
He did it in a different way than Shedeur does. You don't think Peyton Manning was cocky? Come on, man. These are quarterbacks. These are elite players at an elite position. In the 5th round, I'm screaming at the TV, take Shedeur, take Shedeur. I was hoping the Cowboys would just take him. Dak Prescott retires. You have a quarterback ready to go. I think this is a huge mistake by a lot of NFL teams. And I don't even think the Browns, I think someone told those Browns guys, you have to draft him, right? I think the ownership of the Browns said, you got to bring him in. I don't really think those guys wanted to bring him in. But if you look at that quarterback room, what has Kenny Pickett done? Nothing. Joe Flacco is at the end of his career.
Yeah, exactly.
Dylan Gabriel, if you're throwing a screenplay, great, play Dylan Gabriel, right? But you need a guy that throws the ball down the field that can make every single throw and do it with precision. You got Shedeur Sanders. I certainly hope he uses his motivation, because it was ridiculous that he lasted to the 5th round. He should have been a 1st round pick.
Listen, I agree, and I'm going to let you talk real quick, Rich, but listen, I agree. Everything you said was very inspirational. And in my heart, and I know you're a man of faith. I know you are, expert. In my heart, my football heart, I want all that to be true. I really
I
do.
can't wait.
Because I want him to make that list and just be like, check. I passed all these MFers.
Yeah.
But man, like, I just hope. Man, I just don't want him to go to the Browns. He have like a good game, and then they're like, "Oh my God, Shedeur's good," and then like sack, like, because then I'm gonna feel bad.
I mean, every quarterback is going to go through growing pains in the NFL. Okay. If you look at Troy Aikman, you look at Peyton Manning, those guys led the league in interceptions their rookie year. They were not good quarterbacks their first year. It takes time to understand the game, to learn the game. He lives in the same house of a guy that got a gold jacket that he didn't have to buy. A guy that made quarterbacks sleepless when they knew they had to play him the next day. You're talking about a guy that understands the game of football beyond none of these guys' parents are at the level that Deion Sanders was. And this kid grew up with Deion, learning the ins and outs of the NFL from a very young age, preparing him for this moment. He understands the game of football. Is he cocky? Yes, he got some moxie that I would love to see out every single quarterback that plays on your football team. I am a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. If you can't tell, I am a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. But I am a diehard Deion Sanders fan, and I love what he has done with Shedeur. And I will be watching the Cowboys with the greatest interest, like I do every single year. But out the corner of my eye, I'm going to be watching the Cleveland Browns and what Shedeur Sanders does for that football team, because there are going to be some people that eat their words when this is all said and done.
I love it, Rich.
Now, I want everything to be true that Esbert is saying, and I want everything to be true that Mike is saying as well. However, it must have been something that these teams, these organizations, these coaches saw that came from Shedeur that they just did not like, that did not translate enough for them to overlook all the distractions that he's going to bring to the team. And I don't know if you guys can sit up here and say that he's not going to be a distraction, because he's definitely going to bring some baggage and bring some distraction. But however, you guys mentioned Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel brought those same type of distractions, but NFL teams felt that he was still good enough to draft in the first round. Somehow teams didn't feel that way about Shedeur. That's why he kind of fell. Now, did I think he should have dropped all the way to 5? No. Did I think he should? Do I think he was better than Cam Ward? No, but I could be a little bit biased because I'm a Hurricane fan and Cam Ward is my guy. So I don't think I would ever go with Shedeur or anybody else other than Cam Ward. So did I think he probably deserved to go at number 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Yes, of course. And he probably could have went to the Giants when the Giants jumped back in the first round and they selected Jackson Dart. He probably could have went then. I don't think he deserved to be drafted in the 5th round. I thought he was definitely going to go in the 2nd round on day number 2 to the Browns. Now, why they waited so late, I don't know. But it was something about Shedeur that people just didn't like. Like I say, he might have been taking interviews to turn teams off and stuff like that. And yes, he's a son of an NFL great. But sometimes with these celebrity kids that they think that they can just continue to get a pass based on their parents. Shedeur is not Deion. Deion at least got in the door before he got all big. And actually, he was kind of big time at Florida State as well. But the point is, Shedeur ain't Deion. And Shedeur needed to get into the door first before he started acting like Deion's son. Like, I mean, you could be a great person's son, but you still got to be yourself. And Deion definitely has a lot of influence. And maybe people thought that he was going to be coaching from Colorado, which he probably would have. But if Shedeur's talent was that much greater, trust me, NFL teams would have overlooked all that and probably drafted him in the first round. But I don't think he was a 5th round pick. I mean, he could have went to Pittsburgh, he could have went to the Giants, and could have went to the Browns in the 2nd day. So is he better than Jackson Dart?
It's going to be sold. It's going to be sold out Browns preseason games to watch this kid play football.
Yeah, you ain't lying though.
I agree with you, right? Once you get in the door, you didn't have to prove it, right? He can't put the helmet on of any football team and say, just because I'm Deion Sanders' son, you can't sack me or you got to let my guy catch the ball. That's not how it's going to work. He's going to have to put the work in. But if you have followed, listen, I've followed Deion Sanders since the time when he was in Coral Gables, Florida. I've been a Deion Sanders fan when he was first went to Florida State. I wanted to be Deion Sanders growing up. I played corner in high school and college because of him. He is the greatest. To me, he's the greatest athlete to ever play sports. Right? He was Bo Jackson. Now, Bo Jackson, if he wouldn't have got his injury, would have been up there with Deion. But Deion did it at an elite level in two sports. He played offense for the Cowboys, was an elite wide receiver. If he wanted to play on that side of the football, he was that good at playing. He's that good of an athlete. Shedeur now has to be that type of athlete. He has to understand from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to bed, he has to be locked in, dialed in to understand how to play football in the NFL. This is not Colorado, right? Listen, the NFL teams are not going to have Big X to plug in the locker room after practices, after games. That's not what's going to happen. You have to put the work in now. And I certainly pray and hope that Deion has told him those things and instilled in him those things of Deion was the guy that he knew what you were going to do before you did it. That's the type of player Deion was. He watched so much film on you. He knew if you lined up a certain way, what route you were going to run. He knew what your pregame meal was. We talk all the time about Deion shut down a whole half of the field. Not because of his athletic ability, but on top of his athletic ability, he prepared himself before playing games to understand what was about to happen inside those lines. He talks about it now, even now with his team at Colorado. He talked about it at Jackson State. You're going to play how you practice. If you're not prepared on this practice field, you can't just flip a switch and go to the game on Saturday or Sunday and take over. Nobody has that talent because there's talented guys on the other side of the field too that have prepared and been ready for this game. So I hope Shedeur takes that to heart. I hope he prepares his butt off and has that chip on his shoulder, the biggest chip that we've ever seen in the NFL, because I've never seen this happen in a draft before. We watched Aaron Rodgers fall in the draft, but he eventually got picked early. He didn't drop to the 5th round. This is the first time we've seen a top pick. People that put Shedeur as possibility of going number 1 overall falls all the way to the 5th round. Obviously, like Rich said, there's some things that must have happened. I don't know his interviews. We weren't in those interviews. I don't know what he said. Teams haven't come out and said this is what he said in the interview. I get it. He is where he is now, and now he has to prove himself as a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
And I hear a lot of people like, he just cost himself millions of dollars. Do you think Shedeur Sanders is worried about money?
I don't think so.
And also, like, as you mentioned, Doggett, like, even though he got selected in the 5th round, even though he's going to the Cleveland Browns, look at that quarterback room. I think he's set up to really succeed. He should be able to beat out Gabriel. They got Deshaun Watson. They may end up cutting him. He's going to get his money no matter what. And you got Joe Flacco. So Shedeur Sanders, and Kenny Pickett, he should be able to make that roster. If not, be a number 2, maybe a number 1, because I don't know what they're going to do with Watson.
I think Joe Flacco is the starter, right? He's the veteran. Right. He's won a Super Bowl. He understands the NFL. That's your day 1 starter is Joe Flacco, right? To me, like you said, Shedeur Sanders is the number 2, just waiting for his opportunity. Now, he has to show out in the preseason. He has to show out in practices and joint practices, in OTAs, in mini camps. He has to do all those things. He has a lot to prove being a 5th round pick, thinking he was a 1st round pick. Right. To me, I think he has that talent, and I'm going to be watching so heavily to see what he does because I'm rooting for this kid as if he were a Dallas Cowboy.
And we've seen that movie before to where, like, if the Browns season is not going great and they do start Joe Flacco, mid-season, they're going to make a substitution and put in quarterback number 2. And then that could be Shedeur Sanders' chance to come in mid-season or towards the end of the season to start. Like, we've seen that it happens every year in the NFL. Whenever they sign a veteran and then the team is losing and and the season's about over, they go to their number 2. So I can see that happening. I could see Shedeur coming in maybe mid-season towards the end and being a starting quarterback, and we see what we're going to do. I just hope he does not pull a Trey Lance and throws 5 interceptions in the preseason, okay?
Hey, you got Trey Lance 1 year and $6 million, so it must be working out.
Right. And I know, like, one last thing before we go, I know a lot of people was talking about race and stuff like that in the NFL, blackballing and doing all that kind of stuff. I don't think any of that played a factor into the NFL draft at all this year.
No, the
especially
number
with
one
Shedeur
quarterback
Sanders.
that got picked was black. It had nothing to
Exactly.
do with his race.
Exactly.
75% of the NFL is. It had nothing to do with his race.
Exactly. One last thing, so amazing. You got something to say about it?
No, I'm good. I mean, that's really, we kind of wrapped it up with that because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, end of the day, it's like, let's just, they got to go to, everybody got to go to training camp. Everybody
That's
still
it.
got to stay healthy. I mean, that's football.
Yep. Well, I
mean-
loved it. I mean, I loved the draft. I love that we came back together and talked Cowboys. Hopefully we gonna do it again really, really soon. But it was great to be back with the fellas again and talking Cowboy football. You know, NFL season's what, 4 months away? What are we
Oh,
gonna, I know we're
When you
not
say it
watching the
like
Dallas
that-
Mavericks. I mean, we know we're not watching them.
Whoa. That hurt. That hurt.
go Knicks.
Yeah,
That was
we're
a
not Knicks
foul,
fans
bro.
either.
That was a foul.
We are fans of whoever is playing the Los Angeles Lakers. That's who we fans of. Go
Go
Timberwolves.
Timberwolves.
Go Timberwolves.
All right, well, fellas, it was great to be back together again. Silver and Blue Huddle, Dallas Cowboys, NFL Draft, Shedeur Sanders. We're gonna do it again before the season has to start up. Whatever is breaking again for the Cowboys, we'll come back and maybe have some one-off conversations and stuff like that. But Silver and Blue, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Turn on your bell icon so you know when we drop a video. Subscribe to the channel and check out all our social medias. Expert Corner, So Amazing, Rich Black Man. We'll catch you guys on next episode.